Hello and welcome. I'm Saeed from StoryPlanet.net. Dive right into the essence of the most captivating books without reading them cover to cover. Whether you're on the go, at the gym, or just relaxing at home, we offer you a unique and enriching listening experience. Today, we are exploring the book, The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, a creation by Rebecca Skloot. The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks recounts the tale of a poor tobacco farmer who succumbed to cervical cancer and her extraordinary cell line, HeLa, which was instrumental in developing treatments for polio and various ailments. Through her captivating exploration, author Rebecca Skloot delves into Henrietta's backstory, her family's experiences, the exploitation of African Americans by the medical sector, and the enduring legacy of Henrietta's cells. Before we delve into these revelations, it's interesting to note that Rebecca Skloot, an acclaimed science writer, has had her work published in the New York Times Magazine, Discover, and other outlets. She has been a correspondent for NPR and PBS. In 2010, Skloot sold the movie rights for The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks to Alan Ball and Oprah Winfrey. With 10 key ideas to unveil, brace yourself for a deep dive into this captivating book. On StoryPlanet.net. To start, focus on the story of the woman responsible for the world's first immortal cells. The text highlights Henrietta Lacks, whose HeLa cells have been crucial in medical advances. The book details Henrietta's life, her battle with cancer, and the impact of her cells. It discusses the history of cell culture, gene patenting, and the importance of medical research. The book delves into broader themes such as Black American history and the complex relationship between minorities and the medical industry. Key idea number 1. Henrietta Lacks, a poor Black American woman, died from an aggressive cancer. Henrietta Lacks, born in 1920, faced financial struggles and health challenges upon discovering she had cervical cancer in 1951. She underwent intensive radium treatments at Johns Hopkins, but unfortunately passed away later that year due to the illness. Key idea number 2, Henrietta Lacks passed away, but her cells, known as HeLa, continued to live and flourish. In the 1950s, scientists sought ways to keep human cells alive outside the body for research on curing diseases. George Gay created the roller tube culturing technique to maintain cells' survival by mimicking body fluids' motion. HeLa cells, derived from Henrietta as cancer cells, thrived and multiplied rapidly, becoming the first immortal human cells due to their inherent aggressiveness and Gay's technique. This breakthrough led to widespread sharing of HeLa cells for research purposes. Key idea number 3. A factory was developed by scientists to produce HeLa cells for research in combating diseases such as polio and cancer. After Henrietta's death in 1951, plans started for a HeLa factory to produce HeLa cells weekly for polio research. The project aimed to cure polio, and HeLa cells were ideal due to low cost, ability to survive in a culture medium, resilience during transportation, and susceptibility to the polio virus. The HeLa Distribution Center was established by the NFIP to distribute cells to research labs, leading to their use in studying various diseases beyond polio. Key idea number 4. Henrietta's cells became widely used for research, but her and her family's contribution went unrecognized. HeLa cells spread globally, with their origin forgotten. The Lacks family resisted discussing Henrietta due to mistrust ignited by historic exploitation of Black Americans in medical studies. A link between the Tuskegee syphilis experiments and their mistrust is highlighted. The author tried to connect with the Lacks family but was stood up, prompting a trip to Clover, Virginia, in search of distant relatives to possibly facilitate a meeting with Henrietta's immediate family in the future. Key idea number 5. Henrietta's family faced hardships after her death. Henrietta's death left her family in financial hardship. Her widower Day worked 2 jobs while her son Lawrence dropped out of school to care for his siblings. The children were curious about their mother's fate but were discouraged from asking Day. Decades later, Henrietta's daughter confronted Day for answers but received limited information. The author explored Henrietta's story, connected with her relatives, and delved into her medical contribution. The family's reluctance to discuss Henrietta and HeLa remains a lingering question. Key idea number 6. Black Americans historically distrust the medical profession. The author faced challenges researching Henrietta's life due to her family's lack of faith in telling her story. The family's distrust of the medical field stemmed from historical exploitation of Black Americans. Stories like the night doctor's myth contributed to Black people's suspicions. The myth overshadowed Johns Hopkins' mission of providing medical care to those in need and fueled the family's suspicion of doctors and researchers interested in Henrietta and her cells. Key idea number 7. HeLa cells have played a significant role in scientific research, but their overuse has posed a threat to other areas of research. HeLa cells contaminated other cell cultures, leading to a major revelation in 1966 by geneticist Stanley Gartler. This contamination caused a setback in research, as it was discovered that many cell cultures shared genetic characteristics due to HeLa contamination. Some scientists took Gartler's findings seriously and sought ways to identify HeLa, eventually involving Henrietta's family. Key idea number 8. Scientists sought to gain a deeper understanding of HeLa by engaging with the Lacks family. Doctors tried to locate Henrietta Lacks' surviving family for research on HeLa cell contamination. The family was located at Johns Hopkins, making it easy to obtain samples. Researchers at Yale determined the need to locate the family for genome mapping research. Susan Shu requested blood samples from Lacks and his children to continue their study. Deborah expressed concerns about cancer and sought more information about her mother from the doctors. Eventually, the Lacks family and researchers engaged in discussions about Henrietta. Key idea number 9. The HeLa case is not the sole instance involving privacy concerns in cell donation. Henrietta's HeLa cells were critical for research despite her tragic situation. Similar cases involved John Moore and Ted Slavin, who had their cells used without consent, but Slavin was able to profit from it. These cases highlight the importance of patients' rights regarding their cell use in research. Key idea number 10. The text discusses the ethical question of who has ownership over cells, the individual whose cells they are, or the field of medical research. Research using patient tissue samples stored without consent has been a big debate issue in the United States since at least Henrietta Lacks' case in the 1950s. Until 2009, these practices were not explicitly illegal. Current regulations require patient consent for new sample collection, but not for storing samples from diagnostic procedures. The ethical concerns involve informing patients about the use of their cells, especially regarding potential controversial applications or financial gains. Though legislation is in place, debates continue about patients' rights and financial aspects like gene patenting and profit distribution. In conclusion, Henrietta Lacks' cells, HeLa, were vital for polio and disease research unknown to her. Further recommended reading, The Violinista's Thumb by Sam Keene delves into DNA and its significance in life's evolution. Thank you for listening to this summary. If you enjoyed this exploration, we invite you to discover other fascinating books on storyplanet.net. Don't wait any longer. A multitude of books, stories, and knowledge await you there. See you soon on storyplanet.net.